Welcome to New World of Entertainment in Zambia. Cartoons, music, news, movies, drama, series, documentaries, food, travel, the best from Hollywood and Bollywood, international football, CAF competition, La Liga, Serie A, German Bundesliga, Saudi League, Carabao Cup, Asian Championship, Barclays Women's League, local leagues, and much more. Grab your Azam TV decoder at 350 Zambian Kwacha and full kit at 589 Zambian Kwacha and watch all your favorite channels free for 2 months. For more details, contact us on 971-246-222, 763-664-455. WhatsApp 77-500-0013. Azam TV, entertainment for everybody. Welcome to New World of Entertainment in Zambia. Cartoons, music, news, movies, drama, series, documentaries, food, travel, the best from Hollywood and Bollywood, international football, including CAF competitions, La Liga, Serie A, German Bundesliga, Saudi League, Carabao Cup, Asian Championship, Barclays Women's League, local leagues, and much more. Grab your Azam TV decoder at 350 Zambian Kwacha and full kit at 589 Zambian Kwacha. Affordable monthly packages, 100 Zambian Kwacha, 200 Zambian Kwacha, and 300 Zambian Kwacha. For more details, contact us on 971-246-222, 763-664-455. WhatsApp 77-500-0013. Azam TV, entertainment for everybody.
There's nothing confidential about the constitution-making process, for God's sake.
Then this diplomat wants to be funny, funding people
We all have a voice.
One person, one vote.
No titles, no status.
Just a choice.
It's not about doing nothing.
It's about showing up.
Because your vote matters.
It's easy.
It's important.
It's ours.
Count me in.
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 In every celebration, there's a simple choice being made. To belong, count me in. In moments of love and promises for tomorrow, count me in. At the checkout line, in the middle of an ordinary day, a reminder that every number matters. Count me in. Across our communities, our streets, the same message finds us. Count me in. From the everyday worker to the hands shaping our future every day, the call is the same. Count me in. And around the traditions that bring us together, the message becomes impossible to ignore. Count me in.
This election season, your vote counts. Get your NRSC and voters card ready.
Count me in.
It's a lovely good morning to each and every one of you, and happy holidays. Some of you are probably not even home as you're watching this, perhaps transiting back from home, or perhaps you are like those individuals who wait for the last minute. Trust me, it would be better if you actually started off today so that you can beat the traffic that is definitely going to be there tomorrow. Nonetheless, it's a lovely good morning and welcome yet again to another exciting edition of Daybreak. And I'm glad that some of you might be watching from the comfort of your lovely homes. And it's a joy that you could be able to at least maybe transit. I think it's good to be able to use holidays such as these to be able to at least engage with family members. I know others are so campaign oriented, their minds are so fixed on the campaigns, and you're just making movements in regards to the campaigns and whatnot. Please find time for friends and family. It's very, very important. A lovely good morning to you yet again, and hoping that you'll be able to at least let us know where you're watching us from for today, or be it listening from. Others might be listening to Daybreak even in Lukulu, in the land of Lukulu, via Lukulu Radio, because of making one or two movements. We acknowledge those of you joining us from, of course, the land of plenty, and we're hoping that you'll be able to jump on our social media platforms, Prime Television Zambia, drop a comment, greet the Daybreak family, and do not forget to like and also share the link. If it is on YouTube, the message remains the same. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. We are also on other platforms such as TikTok, so you do well to follow through. I know that people indeed want news on the go. It's a very, very busy world, and yet we also ensure that we have at least a portion for each and every one, and we keep up with the latest trends. We also have an app you could be able to download even via the Play Store, and also have a privilege to be able to have not just Prime Television Zambia details or even information, but to also be able to tap into Joy FM. At least to be able to have two options, like it was called at one particular point, Dabo Tovela. You make sure that you download that particular app. And in case you want to advertise with us, our details are scrolling on the screen. In case you are also maybe wanting to find out in terms of the rates at the trade fair, you could be able to follow through with our marketing team. Our hardworking marketing team is following through, and I know some of them are probably been watching this morning. Good morning, team. And we are definitely following through and even watching the lovely coverage that you are providing for us. And we are also told that the Vice President, her honor, Madam Talina Lumango, also graced the event and also had at least some lunch from someone who was actually offering that particular service. So it's the best place to be, and you could be able to advertise with us as well. So you do well to follow through on those conversations as well. Greeting our team, which has gone ahead of us, and can't wait to have them back so that we could be able to find out the lovely conversations even in detail. My name is John Mark Lukonde. On set with me, Naomi Musoya. Our details will be on the screen. Good morning, Naomi.
Good morning to you, John Mark. Good morning to dear viewer listener from wherever in the world you're joining us today. Indeed, it's a holiday for most people. What a long weekend this has been. Obviously, today, the 6th of July, Zambia observes Heroes Day, which is a national public holiday honoring the women and men who fought for the country's independence. And the day falls on the first Monday of July today, and typically kicks off a 2-day celebration leading directly into Unity Day tomorrow. Together, these holidays encourage national reflection, heritage under the country's motto, One Zambia, One Nation. So indeed, John Mark, today we do pause to honor the brave men and women whose courage, sacrifice, and unwavering commitment laid the foundation for the peace, freedom, and unity that we're enjoying today. So as we reflect, or rather also remember our national heroes, may we also be inspired to serve our nation with integrity, patriotism, compassion in our own unique way, because a nation that remembers its heroes builds a stronger future. So may we also be able to remember the men and women whose sacrifice, commitment, and just, courage did lay the foundation. We're taught that foundation is basically everything. When the foundation is broken, even scripture tells us that there's nothing that the men and women can do. So indeed, we do appreciate them. We do actually even remember the sacrifice, all the things that they actually did to ensure that we continue the peace and freedom that we are enjoying today. Regardless what happens, we will always be one Zambia, one nation. So quite a cardinal, what cardinal holidays that we're celebrating, John Mark? Even as people are resting, even as others will be traveling or doing, family reunions, whatever it is that they decide to do in this period, we do remember the essence of these holidays.
Yeah, I think it's important to remind ourselves, because sometimes people enjoy the holiday, but they don't know the essence of the holiday. It's very, very important that we also shed more light on that. And that's why I think we should take pride, even as the media, to be able to have that opportunity to even inculcate the public. We don't just entertain, but we also inform.
Absolutely. When I was coming this morning, and this gentleman was asking me in Bemba, ni holiday achani can see. Do you feel like we spread a lot of information? Have people really forgotten what these holidays mean or what they are?
To some extent, I think even as Zambians, people argue to say we have got too many holidays. Whether or not that is true, that is a subject for another day. And whether or not people will tell you that even the President Hakainde Hichilema said that, I'm trying to remember which day that was, where people were saying the head of state, if it was ECL, he should have called for a holiday. So, but under His Excellency, Mr. President, as he loves to be called, I think it's something that we are coming to realize that we should not expect any additional holidays on our calendar now.
Absolutely, no additional holidays on our calendars. I think the ones that we have are actually good. Hence the conversation when he wanted to gazette that into the other holidays. People are like, well, I see a job, but they should leave them the way they are, because we don't really have so much holidays, especially with him. If today is a holiday, tomorrow we'll still be able to go back to the office. No additional whatsoever, no subtraction, no additions. I think we're good. But let's spread more news and more information with regards what these holidays are all about. And that is why we're here really. That is the essence of the fourth estate. That's today, max day 38, until Zambia goes to the polls. We're counting down even as we're celebrating Heroes Day. But also what did happen is hearing from the ECZ crapping whip on NRPUP in Kaputa, and of course the printing also of 13,000 Braille jackets. So we did hear from the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Later on, directors will be able to show that piece from the Electoral Commission of Zambia did suspend with immediate effect all campaigns activities for the National Reconciliation Party for Unity and Prosperity in Kaputa constituency of Kaputa district. And so much even has to do with how, you know, the Electoral Commission of Zambia have been able to handle themselves. People from the NRPUP, such a mouthful, were more or less like complaining, speaking into how they feel like, you know, the suspension shouldn't have come, and that according to them, the Electoral Commission of Zambia have not acted professional. But these are conversations that we'll be able to get into even as we head to the polls with 38 days to go and campaign periods. We do know that you know, the president John Mark over the weekend, Friday, he was in Kiema, Wampa, Kaoma, Lukulu, and that was Friday. Saturday, the campaign trails did go to Mungu, Sikongo, Kalabo, and Miteta. So it's been a busy you know, weekend, John Mark.
Indeed, and I think the head of state has actually, I was listening to him even deliberate, saying that the president will actually ensure that government will accelerate infrastructure development in Chitambo district once the UPND is re-elected. And of course, the details are that he says government will indeed accelerate the electrification of the district and improve connectivity as well as other social services. In my mind, the moment we start talking about electrification of the rural areas, I'm reminded immediately of RIA and their responsibility. I know that they work in collaboration with the nation's utility company. Of course, that's ZESCO. And of course, people have been able to ask how effective RIA has been. And I think it's also important that we get, in my view, I think it's important that we get at least either quarterly or feedback from them to find out how far they've actually been able to go on a regular basis. It's very, very important because I always say that Lusaka is not Zambia and Zambia is not Lusaka. Development must be holistic. But for us to be able to hear that they're going to accelerate developmental projects post the elections, that's if they're going to be cities in each and every province. We need to be able to talk about proper level 1 hospitals, at least in each and every district. For example, just here, I keep reminding people to say within Chibomo, you find that for the level 1 hospital that is closest is the one that is in Matero. Others don't even have transport to even get to Matero itself. The eye clinics, you can barely find them even in and around. These are the challenges that people are able to face. Talk about the challenges with the hearing aids. Unless you go to the clinic that is opposite Hero Stadium, or is it OIDC, that is owned by the Americans. That's why you're going to even get proper facilities to be able to deal with the ears. And these are the challenges that our brothers and sisters are facing in terms of hearing aids. So I feel we genuinely need to speak about development at a holistic perspective. How is development in Southern Province? And I think the problem we have in this country is, for example, for me, being a Lukonde, I'm just focusing on, is there something to do with development up north? When we talk about the FTJ University, that remains unaddressed, and I'm hoping that maybe we'll have some time to also talk about that, because as much as, yes, the UPND government can criticize the previous regime about not ensuring that the FTJ University was not brought to bitumen a standard, if I can put it that way. What have they been able to do to finish off the projects that were started under the Patriotic Front that were not completed? As much as there are questions around universities like the FTJ University, what has the UPND been able to do? But I should not just focus on up north. I should also ask to say what has been done in the south, what has been done in the eastern province. These are the questions that must be asked, because I feel just because I come from a particular region, I'm very much concerned. I should be concerned about all of the regions, and every single well-meaning Zambian should not just focus on, oh, which region am I coming from? How has development been able to come? Like for me, Naomi, I must say, and you will probably agree with me, that when you go to the eastern province, it's a marvel to pass through Chipata. I lived in Chipata the last maybe 20 years ago or so. And when I visited Chipata the last 5 or 7 years ago, I was amazed to see the road network. I was amazed to see how the Central Business District is actually doing. I was very, very glad. I might not necessarily be from there, but I'm a Zambian and I should be proud that the Eastern Province is doing well. And that's why for me, I was even shocked when I get to hear one of these politicians getting to say we should not even have an airport in the northwestern province. I was not shocked.
Them say no, they apologized, but you know, we even had a representative that on Friday, and he spoke into that as well. The electorates have a lot of work to look into right now, even as it's campaign period. The presidential candidates are, bringing all sorts of promises on their table, but this is also a good opportunity for the electorates to be able to ask the government to explain clearly what they will do, even with regards the health sector, John Mark, which continues to fail the poor. We'll speak into the fact that the insurance schemes such as National Health Insurance Management Authority have continued to disappoint many citizens over and over again. Even some of our biggest hospitals repeatedly struggle, John Mark, if you go to the hospital, with broken scanning machines. I don't know, mostly the scanning machines are broken, the shortages of medicine. We know these are issues that are really cardinal. And so these are now, this is the right time to ask these people, the aspiring candidates, to be able to provide concrete plans, the plans that it has for the poor who are dying every day due to lack of medicine. There's no equipment, proper equipment, and access also to quality care. These are questions that they need to outline and just tell the Zambians how they're going to fix, the healthcare system, which has continued to fail many Zambians, John Mark. If you don't have a certain level of money when you go to these local hospitals, you will agree with me that it's really, really, in a devastating state. But when you hear them speak, they will say that the health sector is doing well, that they've been able to improve, that there's a lot of, that there's medicine even. But you and I, when you go to these local hospitals, we are taught that most of the times we actually have to buy the medication. Now you want to seek help, and then you are taught so many things of which you have to actually get. It's really sad. Before
we are journalists, we are citizens, okay? And I think it's also important to look at it from even just the lowest point of view, or just to bring it down, in other words. Now, even at a household level, for you to be able to say we are doing fine, there are some basic needs and necessities that should be on the table. For example, do you have food on the table? Do you have a shelter over your head? Do you have a roof over your head? Are you able to ensure that indeed you're able to have at least 3 meals a day? Do you have security? These are the questions that we ask at a personal level, at an individual level. But even at a national level, we should be able to say at what particular standard should we be able to say that even as a country, we're doing quite well. I think the same principles at a family level can be used even at a national level, so to say. Issues of food security. How food secure are we? Are people eating 3 meals a day? Those are the questions we need to be able to ask. If we're talking about development, even at a national level as individuals, healthcare should actually be a priority for everyone. Under the UPND government, kudos to them when it comes to the education sector. That's something that even the opposition will struggle to complain about or even punch holes into their manifesto. I keep referring to the meal allowances. You cannot fight the UPND if you're from the Brand Mundiwile camp on that one, because under the previous regime, they had scrapped that off. But under this regime, you can see that they've done quite well. But when we talk about issues to do with medication, that's a conversation that even the UPND sympathizers will not want to talk about that. They'll tell you to say, can you please move on? Because like you've mentioned, you go to the health facilities and they're able to tell you, they'll give you a prescription and you get checked by the doctor, quite all right. And then the next question is, now, after getting the subscription, where are you going to get the medication from? There's no medicine within the health facility, the health post. They'll refer you to the nearest pharmacy. When it was Sylvia Masebo, who was the Minister of Health, and she was at Matero, people were saying, oh, this is what's happening. What a shock. Some of us were not shocked. We've gone to material level 1. We've seen not just first and foremost the fact that medication was not readily available then, but even sometimes not all health posts, but some of the health posts, you find that the working culture of some of our medical personnel leaves so much to be desired. You're wondering to say, this person is putting on a white outfit. They should be putting on a green outfit because they behave as if they are in the military. They have no courtesy whatsoever. Not all, but some of them, when you go to the health facilities. And that's why we encourage the politicians to be like Michael Chilufya-Sata, who would literally go incognito. And he would be able to expose some of these particular challenges. I remember I've got a relative, Naomi, who was telling me that that at one particular point, some of the nurses were just having that moment around 01, 03, and where they were just, I think after they're taken their rounds, and they were just having a bit of a seat, because at night, that's when the illnesses sometimes tend to spike. The nurses and the doctors will tell you. And then one of them received a phone call to say, the minister, Sata, being a minister at that particular point, says he's actually coming through and he's coming incognito. And they all had to now quickly wake up and act as if they were actually even working and being up to speed. But you need individuals who should keep you on your toes.
Absolutely, but also you shouldn't have to, get information and somebody's coming for you to be able to do the work that you are paid to do. But unfortunately, that is the mentality that, you will get in most of these places that you go to. We are usually more excited to buy than they are to sell. To sell, meaning to serve us in whatever sphere of life that they could be in. So really, this is a good time for us to bring to account the leaders that want to take up the role of leadership. They say that they are into it to serve. They are the servants and we are the bosses. But do we see that in the things that they get to do? Now is a good time to determine that, even as they are coming to us with all these, manifestos and the promises that they are giving us. But also other conversations to do with what happens when a running mate resigns. What are the legal and political implications when a presidential running mate resigns? Does the law provide a clear path forward? And also, what could such a development mean for the electoral process? We've been seeing, people resigning even as a running mate, stepping down as running mate. And we did hear from the Electoral Commission of Zambia in that regard, saying that the presidential elections will go on as scheduled despite the pulling of Organized People's Party, OPP, running mate Andy Ford Banda from the race. EC chairperson Wangala Zalome says this is on account of the amendments of Article 52 of the Constitution through the Constitution Amendment Act number 13 of 2025. Mrs. Zalome, however, says the ECZ shall explore how to address the pulling out of Mr. Banda as OPP running mate to the party's President Brian Mushimba. Of course, she was speaking yesterday. Also, she said that the printing of the 2026 general elections ballot papers in Dubai is progressing smoothly and the process is also being implemented in a transparent manner. She said representatives of some political parties are in Dubai to observe the printing of the ballot papers. I know these are building conversations and also be able to speak into them, but at least we've gotten clarity, John Mark, with regards to the pooling of presidential candidate that, hey, under Article 52 of the Constitution, through the Constitution Amendment Act number 13 of 2025, the elections will proceed as scheduled. That was the worry from most people, asking how is it going to be now that somebody did pull off the election race. But at least we've gotten clarity, John Mark.
True, and I think it brings us back to what we're talking about in terms of the constitutional review. When we're talking about constitutional review, when we're just talking about delimitation, and we're just talking about female representation in the National Assembly, talking about persons with disabilities also being included as those individuals who might also be MPs in the National Assembly. We were hoping that we should be able to have some of these lacunas to be able to be addressed. And again, I remember when that story did even break, when Princess Kasuni had hinted that there was a draft that was going to be going around about the constitutional review. I had hinted to say, what about even issues to do with ECO? Up to now, it is shocking that we're not hearing any of the politicians, none of the politicians, whether from the government side or from the opposition, even pitching the idea to say we need to also address what happens in an event that something similar to ECL also reoccurs. Up to now, there is complete silence. So I feel even those who are the political party leaders are also doing us a disservice, because they are very focused on what they want to pitch as individuals. But I think we also need to look at things holistically, because Naomi, even when a sitting president up to now, or a former president, even comes up with a will to say, I want to be buried, maybe for example in Kaputa, in the next 15, 25 years, there's no law that is also going to be able to prohibit what has happened with ECL to reoccur. So I think when it comes to the
12 ngwe and getting to sell at 1 kwacha 14 ngwe. Note that these rates are indicative and of course may vary from bank to bank. Even as we head to business day this morning, these are rates courtesy of the Bank of Zambia. On the other side, we continue with more stories as well as we get to check out with what's coming out from the newspapers be here this morning. But also, do not forget that, yes, Prime Television is at the 60th Zambia International Trade Fair. A few days to go before we wind it up, but you could still visit our stand and of course have us advertise your business for it to reach a huge market. So always very important to have your business get the visibility that it deserves, even as this year's theme is celebrated under this one, which is interesting, bridging markets and building the future. You want your future to be built? Advertise with us. After this short break, we'll be back.
Welcome to New World of Entertainment in Zambia. Cartoons, music, news, movies, drama, series, documentaries, food, travel, the best from Hollywood and Bollywood, international football, CAF competitions, La Liga, Serie A, German Bundesliga, Saudi League, Carabao Cup, Asian Championship, Barclays Women's League, local leagues, and much more. Grab your Azam TV decoder at 350 Zambian Kwacha and full kit at 589 Zambian Kwacha and watch all your favorite channels free for 2 months. For more details, contact us on 971-246-222, 763-664-455. What's up? 77-500-0013. Azam TV, entertainment for everybody. Welcome to New World of Entertainment in Zambia. Cartoons, music, news, movies, drama, series, documentaries, food, travel, the best from Hollywood and Bollywood, international football, including CAF competitions, La Liga, Serie A, German Bundesliga, Saudi League, Carabao Cup, Asian Championship, Barclays Women's League, local leagues, and much more. Grab your Azam TV decoder at 350 Zambian Kwacha and full kit at 589 Zambian Kwacha. Affordable monthly packages, 100 Zambian Kwacha, 200 Zambian Kwacha, and 300 Zambian Kwacha. For more details, contact us on 971-246-222, 763-664-455. What's up? 77-500-0013. Azam TV, entertainment for everybody.
There's nothing confidential about the constitution-making process, for God's sake.
Then this diplomat wants to be funny, funding people to say no. You must make sure that this constitution does not go through.
Until there's some people who removed our meal allowances. So you are removing HH and you want to come in. So that you remove our meal allowances again? Sorry.
This country was gone.
Under the PF?
Under the PF, this country, my man, was gone.
Ask him to come and explain. Is that not insults? Now it becomes an insult because it's poor why me, and that why me must be discarded. No.
From day one, Michael Sata wanted me dead. Not necessarily physically.
He wanted you dead?
I don't want to answer that one for now.
Maybe you become the first female president of this country.
Exactly. That's where it's going.
That's where it's going.
Why keep your business in the dark? Shine a spotlight on your brand with Prime TV2.
Has been assaulted by the ant.
Zambia's first ever 24-hour news channel and a trusted platform that helps business grow.
Botswana, of course, behind me is the Kazongola Bridge. And
we broadcast on Topstar, Channel 110, DTH platform, and reach an expanding digital audience through our Facebook page, PTV2 Zambia.
Projects that have been dotted across the country.
Advertise with us today. Contact our marketing team on 0978 719477. Prime TV2, the home of breaking news.
For 30 years, First Quantum Minerals has been creating opportunities for local businesses and building a supply chain that keeps Zambia's economy moving. At this year's Zambia International Trade Fair, we're showcasing our suppliers and contractors from Kansanshi Mining PLC and Trident Mine. Proof of what real local procurement looks like. In 2025 alone, we spent over $2.1 billion with Zambian suppliers, working with 1,500 local businesses and 11,500 contractors across our operations. Visit our stand at the trade fair in Ndola and see what 30 years of partnership we have built together.
Voting is one of the few moments where we all have a voice.
One person, one vote.
No titles, no status.
Just a choice. It's not about doing nothing.
It's about showing up.
Because your vote matters.
It's easy.
It's important.
It's ours.
Count me in.
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 In every celebration, there's a simple choice being made. To belong, count me in. In moments of love and promises for tomorrow, count me in. At the checkout line, in the middle of an ordinary day, a reminder that every number matters. Count me in. Across our communities, our streets, the same message finds us. Count me in. From the everyday worker to the hands shaping our future every day, the call is the same. Count me in. And around the traditions that bring us together, the message becomes impossible to ignore. Count me in.
This election season, your vote counts. Get your NRSC and voters card ready.
Count me in.
All right, even as we progress, let me read one of your messages. Remember that you can join the conversation on our Facebook platform, Prime Television Zambia. And if at all you've already graced our Prime TV stand, even at the trade fair, please let us know. We want to get feedback. Let us know if you've been able to engage with our team on the ground. And speaking of the ground, Stephen Chitambala says, politicians should be working from the ground, not in the offices. Stefan, are all politicians working from the offices? Is that what you're saying? Chinyama says, good morning, Daybreak family. John, Mark, and Naomi, watching you live. Thank you so much for that message. I'm trying to see if I can pronounce your first name accurately. Is it Mayondi? Please let me know in the comment section if I pronounced it correctly. But thank you so much for that name, or that comment rather. Kennedy Chipalo says, good morning, Daybreak family. Good morning, Naomi. Good morning, John Mark, following from Chingola. It's good to know that Chingola is following through. And then Stephen comes back and says, good morning, Daybreak family. What is on my mind this morning is the ongoing FIFA Football World Cup, France versus Paraguay, following the show as usual from Zambezi. Stephen, I agree with you. For me, what is breaking my heart, I unfortunately even stayed up late just to watch Brazil get booted out.
I hear they've been booted out.
I can't believe it. Brazil is... There's no way the Brazilian team can be coming out this early in the tournament. It is a crime. That is a pure crime, Naomi. That is like not having... I almost mentioned the political party. Not
Just to be cited to be on that party's side.
I'll be cited to say, no, this journalist is being partisan.
Is it just the name that has remained now, or what has happened, really?
It is. They are playing as individuals, not as a team. And in football, for you to be able to win major tournaments, you need a team instead of individuals. And I think to sum it up, almost the last kick of the game was by Neymar. and that was probably his last kick, and as usual he was crying. He always cries whether he wins, he loses. I don't have sympathy for him anymore. Political sympathy, if you want to call it that.
Wow.
Honestly, Stephen, I'm just like you. I'm very heartbroken, but part of me is also happy because England went through. I love England. I've always loved England because I support one of the teams in the English Premier League, or it's just called the Premier League these days. It was called Barclays Premier League at one particular point. But I know that JC will be able to come and shed more light on that. We can't wait for that conversation, Naomi.
Absolutely. We can't wait for that conversation. Even as Jesse comes here, I want him to confirm whether or not indeed Cristiano Ronaldo has confirmed that this is his last World Cup dance. Also breaking for the Cristiano Ronaldo fans, John Max. So could this be an end of an era? We'll be able to find out even as Jesse comes through. But let's check out this story from our newsroom before we get to check out with what's trending from the newspapers. Again, it seems people are committing suicide, and not just people. This one is as a teacher, a 34-year-old teacher at Kawa's Shitima School has committed suicide by consuming an insecticide. The deceased has been identified as Lucy Konkola of Luangwa Extension. The incident happened on the 4th of July 2026 around 18 hours. Meanwhile, police say the mother of the deceased disclosed that her daughter, her date, the family was helping her to settle, adding that on the fateful day, one of the females she owes money confronted her and threatened to expose her. Joseph Samhihi has the details in this report. I'm not sure if the report is ready.
She was found lying down unconscious in her house by her mother on the 4th of July 2026 at 18 hours. This is 34-year-old Lucy Konkola, a teacher at Kawa's Shitima School. According to police, the victim was rushed to Kawa Central Hospital where she was pronounced dead upon arrival. The police report further indicates that the mother of the now deceased disclosed that the deceased had debts which the family had been helping to settle, and that at 9 hours the very day, the deceased was confronted at her home by a unknown female over the same matter.
True. And for me, I'm reminded, Naomi, that we had this conversation with the Teaching Council of Zambia when he came through, and he had also urged some of the teachers to say, please ensure that you don't get into debt. Ensure that you don't get into debt. He had talked about a loan scheme for the teachers, and I'm encouraging that some of the teachers or educators who were watching Daybreak on that particular time and maybe might have forgotten the discussion to simply scroll down on our Facebook platform, Prime Television Zambia. They'll find that conversation. But to be honest with you, for you to be able to commit suicide just because of debt is very, very heartbreaking, if you ask me. And the story reads that the police say the mother of the deceased disclosed that her daughter had debt and the family was helping her. So the daughter had debt, the family comes into it. And you know, there's a certain point where I believe that based on this story, I think the family got to notice that maybe this particular individual is in debt. Let's help them out. And at the end of the day, in my view, I'm thinking to myself, this person was a 34-year-old teacher. When you get a job, the idea is that you are now going to be able to alleviate some of the challenges that the family has. And at the end of the day, instead of alleviating the challenges, now the family starts helping you as well, which for me really leaves much to be desired. But the fact of the matter is, she was actually getting help. Kudos first and foremost to the family.
Absolutely.
That you can actually belong to a family that first and foremost is able to help you. Because Naomi, others will tell you that there are some families where someone might even be rich, might be doing so well, but they're not helping in the first place. I think for me, she should have been able to view it from the point of view to say, at least I'm even getting help from my family. How I wish that she could be able to exchange, you know, families, you don't actually pick where you're actually going to be born. But if I were advising her, it's sad that she's no longer with us. I would be able to tell her to say, look, you actually have a family that is able to even help you, that is willing to even put their heads together. And you find that today, Naomi, when someone helps you, it's not that they really have so much, but they're helping you not out of abundance, but within their financial constraints. So first and foremost, for me, when I read this story, I see a positive. I see the fact that she belonged to a family who loved her enough to even help her, because others will not even help you at all. That's to begin with. Secondly, I'm also seeing that on that particular day, the story says that police say the mother of the deceased disclosed that her daughter had debt. The family was helping her, like I've mentioned, to settle, adding that on the fateful day, one of the females she owes money confronted her and threatened to expose her. So she went on to commit suicide because she was afraid of being exposed. I'm conflicted because first and foremost, the person who was being owed money confronted the deceased and says, I'll be able to even expose you. I think it also matters the way we also confront people, Naomi. I know that sometimes we might be able to borrow some money from a friend. It can be a friend, it can be a colleague, it can be a family member. But also, when someone owes you money, I think it's also important to at least give them a form of dignity. And let me also extend this this olive branch to even the landlords. Yes, there are times when someone might not necessarily pay you for a month or so, but that doesn't mean you should now be able to literally come out and talk to them in a certain way. I know that when someone owes you money, the moment they walk into the building, your peace leaves.
And you actually expect them to not eat. There's a story I read where, you know, the landlord was feeling mad because apparently, you know, she was owed money, and then they saw this person actually carrying packs of will not mention names, we're not advertising, but I think they went to buy some food at a certain supermarket, and the landlord was like, wait, where do you have money to buy food but you're not able to pay me? So I'm like, they actually don't even expect you to eat. But it's very sad that indeed, you know, I like that you say that half the times if you are in debt, your family will not be able to even help. Some family members will actually leave you like, you know what, this is your bed, you made your bed, you have to go ahead and lie in it. But this is a family that was helping this lady out. Like, what sort of embarrassment was she facing for her to not actually be able to handle the threats that came in? Well, go ahead, expose me, I will pay you when I have the money, but I will not be able to take my life. Like, over how much is worth taking your life? That's very sad that he actually got to the fact that she actually took her own life when family was actually helping her. But then again, maybe conversations on the better pay when it comes to, paying the civil servants. But also, you can get a certain amount, but back to how I spoke into practical budgeting habits, and you have to learn to manage your living standards without relying on loans. We have seen that teachers actually rely on loans a lot, not just teachers, our friends in the civil servant actually rely on loans. You want to get a loan to get a car, a loan for, for weddings. We do see that a lot. Wedding, you get a loan for a wedding, and then a month down the line that marriage is actually even over, and then you are in debt. We don't encourage that, really. So I hope we can be able to live within our means and just be comfortable. It's always okay to want more. There's nothing wrong with that, but everybody, life is in phases. So can we be able to just appreciate the level where we are at for us to be able to avoid some of these so sad stories that continue to reoccur, teachers committing suicide because of being indebted.
True. And the story says the incident happened on the 4th of July, Naomi, at 18 hours. So in my mind, I'm thinking the incident happened on the 4th of July. And then this particular individual who was owed money came to the teacher and said, I will expose you. So in other words, at least they exercised a form of patience. Because if this story happened maybe on the 24th or maybe on the 15th, I would say, why don't you wait for the month end when maybe the teachers might actually be paid? Please, those who are in the who are civil servants, please let us know this particular, at least maybe time frame which you normally get paid. But in my mind, I'm thinking the first week money's definitely come through, unless maybe it's a private school or something. So you could see that as much as this person was owed money, they had the courtesy of, first of all, perhaps waiting up until the month end, and then even at least having the conversation to say, I will be able to expose you, because now others, they will not even give you a warning. You just find your issue out there. You find, oh, by the way, Tinamve, that you owe this person so and so, how much this amount might actually be. So at the end of the day, I get to also, at least in some sense, I respect the person who at least tried by all means to even engage the person, because we also have to speak to those individuals who, Naomi, even if you want to be patient with someone, imagine you owe me money, and then I'll tell you to say, I'll be able to pay you maybe by the month end of August. August month end comes, I'm silent. September, I'm silent. December, I'm silent. You start calling me, and then I start turning off my phone. Or maybe you start calling me, and then I start answering you rudely. There are some people who you owe them, or rather, they owe you, and they become rude, they become hostile, and they expect that you should be the one calling them, even when they came to you to get a service, to get some money. They were in a tight place, and you help them come out of that particular fix, and then they also become rude. And we also have to speak to those particular individuals to say, yes, sometimes even when people begin to question you, and when you owe someone, at least have the courtesy of giving them a call. Explain to them, okay, I had predicted that by this particular time, maybe I had a certain agreement that I wanted to even go through, a deal that I wanted to go through. I was expecting some monies to come through. The money did not come through. This is where I am at. So when you also owe someone money, you should also be able to ensure that you also explain when you are unable to pay back. Give them that leeway to say, I have not forgotten, I am not disrespecting you, but I will pay you back. This is where I am at currently.
Absolutely. But half the times when you owe people, when you borrow people money and they owe you, you will be the one to have to call them. You will be the one to have to maybe go over their place, to check in, and no courtesy whatsoever to give you a plan as to when they will pay. If we can do that, even better. But we still don't encourage one to take their life, regardless of how much, I got from John Mark. I don't think that is enough for me to take my life. So I hope we can be able to actually handle some of these cases better going forward, living within our means, and also, just some sort of increment with regards how the teachers are living. Remember, we spoke into how, again, the teachers shouldn't be blamed if they've been, transferred to these rural communities, and then, we blame them that, no, don't just run away from where you've been, sent to go, but also let's work into making the living standards for the teachers better, even in these rural places that they go. Not so long ago, we lost the two people who were supposed to send reports, apparently because the area they were in had no network. So they had to go on a canoe somewhere, and then, it actually capsized, and they actually died when they were supposed to send some reports for work. So we can always improve the living standards of our teachers. But very sad that we actually lost her.
Extremely sad, and we send messages of even condolences to the family. And for me, suicide is something that I genuinely detest. I don't like it at all, because I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the family. There was a challenge. Thankfully, they were able to catch wind that their relative was in debt, and then they start helping the relative, and then the relative commits suicide. Now, can you imagine? You are helping someone, and you have committed yourself. You have already invested, and then you find out one particular fateful morning that your relative has passed on, and now even as people start telling you to say you have got a funeral, this 4-day holiday now that we are enjoying, for them they are thinking about caskets. For them they are thinking about where we're going to bury from. Is it Leopards Hill? Is it Memorial Park? There are plans to rest now forever. Whenever it comes to the month of July, it will completely be a bad month for them. I'm speaking from experience, because for me, for example, I lost my father in a particular month, and whenever that month comes, no matter what happens within the month, my mind is a little bit disturbed. And up to now, if it's been about 5 years or so, up to now, that month is not my favorite month, so to say. It's one of those months that just bring back memories. And for them, the 4-day holiday, the month of July,
will no longer be the same.
It will no longer be the same. We can talk about elections. For them, their mind is not going to be on Brian Mundubile, on President Hakainde Hichilema. They should be able to even contribute to even the discussion, the discourse. They might have even been watching Daybreak, but now their month and their year has genuinely been ruined, and we definitely send condolences to them.
Absolutely, a message of condolence to the family who have lost this 34-year-old teacher. Let's quickly go to the papers, and then we will be speaking to our guest right after. You also see that there will be projected on the screen from the news diggers this particular morning. We will change constitution when we win, Makebi promises. NRPUP running mate Makebi Zulu and the fire had already started. According to Eastern Province Police Commanding Officer Robertson Mwemba, the blaze spread quickly through the house, destroying all household goods. Neighbors alerted Bando's parents, who later called the fire brigade, but the damage had already been done. Mr. Mwemba said police officers who visited the scene confirmed that the household items had been destroyed. Very, very sad for this family of this house, indeed, having to, lose most of the household things this particular morning. Let's close off with the Times of Zambia. TVET certifies over 7,000 inmates. The story continues on page 3 of the Times of Zambia. 30 French firms eye Zambia for investment. Some good news there. Faz boss embarrassed over league price money. This full story continues on page 16 of the Times of Zambia. No, no, no. Central Province emphatic in not wanting the return of PF. No, not again, was the thunderous refrain that came from the Sea of Humanity in Chitambo, Serenge, and Mukushi in Central Province when President Hakainde Hichilema posed the question if the electorate wanted to see a return of the Patriotic Front regime into government. It is campaign time, and this is what we're getting. Mungu Airport works begin, and Chimbwi no plan. Kawana dismisses claims of New Dawn borrowing. Information and Media Permanent Secretary Tao Kawana has dismissed claims by some politicians that the New Dawn administration has borrowed more during its 5 years in office compared to the former ruling party. These are some of the stories that we do have from the newspapers this morning. John Mack.
Indeed, and we will be able to get into the phone calls much later on. We'll be able to open up the phone lines, but we want to dive into a very important conversation with the next guest. And to take us to that story by Favourite Chisi K, story number 7, that states that former Labour Union leader Joe Kamutumwa has cautioned opposition political parties against underestimating the electoral strength of the ruling United Party for National Development, UPND, ahead of the August 13th, 2026 general elections. Speaking in an interview with Prime Television News, Mr. Kamutumwa says the country's political trends and voting patterns indicate that any opposition strategy that dismisses the UPND's current position and record in government could prove costly. He says in the 2021 general elections, the Patriotic Front, PF, under the late former President Edgar Lungu, contested as the incumbent government but was defeated by then opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema by a margin of about 1 million votes. Mr. Kamutumwa said the sizable victory margin remains a significant political factor that should not be overlooked as the country heads towards the 2026 general elections. He has further urged the UPND government to actually implement a number of programs over the past 5 years in regards to strengthening its support base among voters. Favourite Chisi reports.
As Zambia moves closer to the 2026 general elections, political parties are sharpening their campaign strategies in what is expected to be a highly contested race. While the opposition is positioning itself to challenge the ruling United Party for National Development, former Labour Union leader Joe Kamutumwa believes one critical mistake could prove costly, underestimating the electoral strength of the incumbent administration.
And the party in power as UPND was in the opposition. But when we counted the presidential results, it was found that UPND had won with an exceeding 1 million vote gap. Now, 1 million vote gap is not a joke. You can't come 5 years and start underplaying a person who won with 1 million gap of votes. And that was a very organized PF where he managed to get a 1 million. And then you come up today and underrate a person who got 1 million votes in just 5 years ago. I think that is very dangerous for the opposition. They need to treat the UPND government with a lot of respect, believe you me. And I am saying this because after all, that time the UPND was in opposition. opposition. Now they are in government. They've even made certain strides.
Beyond the election results, Mr. Kamtuma says the UPND has spent its first term implementing programs that have had a direct impact on many households across the country.
And a lot of people didn't complete their education. Why? Because where we are coming from, the school system was that one of paying. A lot of people were disadvantaged and they ended up not completing school. So now someone brings you this free education. You need to make sure that you consider that. That is one. Two, look at employment. He has employed in the public service. He has thousands of workers in a period of 5 years. And he's targeting, as the UPND government, they are targeting the younger generation. So you see, these are indicators that the opposition need to be worried about. And remember, Zambia is big, but these policies are going to the remotest parts of Zambia.
On the economy, Mr. Kamtuma argues that Zambia's improving macroeconomic indicators, including a relatively stable exchange rate and renewed international creditworthiness following debt restructuring, suggest that the country is gradually recovering.
For me, I am warning again the opposition that don't underrate the UPND government, more especially the president, for the scores that he has made and the gains. Look at the economic fundamentals that he has held. The dollar is now struggling to move. It's at 17 kwacha. So the person who does that, what message are you going to design that is going to undo? Not too long ago, Zambia was not credit worthy. You know, we had defaulted not too long ago. We had defaulted under the Eurobond, and you know what the story is. But now we've come back. The debt has been restructured, and now confidence is back, and we've been given room to breathe. That as we breathe, then we are making these other investment in the economy.
Favorite Chisi Prime.
We're just about to start. Okay. Let's get started and get into very interesting discussions in regards to citizen participation in economic development. We've been talking about government and how there's need to ensure that each and every province, at least there's an enabling environment for each and every province to be able to thrive instead of just focusing on one particular region, regionalism per se. But what role do citizens also have to play in ensuring that the economies of the nation also do well? Remember, we constantly speak here on Daybreak about each and every individual contributing to the nation's GDP. I think it's important that we also ask a question, what can I also do? And those are the conversations that we want to get into with Pastor Daniel Shawa, the author of the book, Business with Nations. Pastor Shawa, it's a pleasure to have you, and good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much, John. Naomi, good morning.
Indeed. Pastor, first and foremost, for those who might not be familiar with Pastor Shawa, care to just shed more light on who Pastor Shawa is?
Oh, thank you so much. So, Pastor Shawa, I'm a pastor in Winners Chapel International, Zambia specifically. And I'm in Choma. I'm heading Choma branch as a station. And I'm an author as well. Apart from that, I have a group of singles and young couples where I teach people about the relationships. But I think today I'm here for the book, to talk about the book and the information.
Wonderful. And speaking of the book, I can see the title is Business with Nations, Improving World Economies.
Yeah.
What is the book all about, and Business with Nations, and why is it important for economic development of our country?
Okay, so the book is very important. First of all, let me talk about why I came up with that book. Number one is the issues that I've seen, the poverty that I've seen among the nations, not only the nations, the civil servants, not only the civil servants, the struggles of the SMEs, and the massive educated and uneducated people in Zambia, Africa, and the world.
Indeed. And how can we also how can business directly affect our country's development and poverty levels?
Okay, so business can change this world, and that is one of the things that is needed to be done. If we are to change this world, then the people in this world must do business. If we are to change the way civil servants are operating, civil servants must start doing business. If we must see the economy changing, the SMEs must be improved to a standard that will start adding value and something to this world, or maybe to a nation like Zambia.
So you're saying that we cannot transit, even as individuals, to become the billionaires that your book talks about without business?
No, we can't. There is no worker today that is working for somebody. For example, if you have a maid at home, that maid can never or cannot be paid more than you earn. I don't know whether you get it. So government alone, working for the government alone, it cannot make you rich. Working for somebody alone, it cannot make you rich.
But we see individuals, the moment there's a recruitment, they cry for joy as if maybe they've made it to heaven.
That is an escape from poverty. That is an escape from poverty. That is an escape from poverty. But when individuals begin to run into business, that is a turning point for their lives. For example, this book, the many reason why this book was written, for example, it was written to transform civil servants, SMEs, and other unemployed people to turn into millionaires through businesses. Are you getting that? Through businesses. Without businesses, I doubt if we can have civil servants as millionaires. They'll be investigated. They'll be checked out.
Man of God, I'm curious.
They'll be investigated.
I know I'm not stupid, but I'm curious.
Yes.
And I know I'm probably asking for the masses as well. Being a man of God, being a pastor.
Yes.
Many people have this discussion to say, should pastors be involved in anything outside the pulpit? Should they be able to get into businesses, or theirs is just to simply focus on the word of God and preach like the disciples had said in Acts, to say that us, we cannot be serving tables.
Yeah.
Ours is to just focus on the word of God so that the delivery is perfect. Are you also saying that even the men of God out there should get into business?
In fact, pastors, bishops, reverends, they're in business. Ministry is a business. Ministry is a business. The Bible talks about it in Luke chapter 2, verse number 49. Jesus himself, he says, why are you looking for me? Didn't you know that I must be at my Father's business? or put pressure on the people that they are leading. So in this book, I'm saying, let ministries have huge, big-time businesses.
Hence, one of your topics here says Christianity and wealth.
Christianity and wealth.
Pastor Shawa.
Christianity
But also, I know it's like it's a campaign period, and electorates are telling people what they can be able to do, and a lot of people are now buying into what can you be able to do for us, the people. A lot of people feel that development is the government's job. What does your book say about the role of ordinary citizens, the traders, the farmers, the professionals, youths in economic development?
First of all, allow me to address maybe His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. Aspiring presidents, people that, like Hari Kalaba, Brian Mundubile, I must also urge them to come for this book. Just like they are getting musicians like Yomaps and others, they must also come for this information. Very important information that is in this book. Why should they come for this book? People like President Hakainde Hichilema and other aspiring presidents, why should they come for this book? In this book, I've jotted down how the president of Zambia, how the president of any other country, how the president of maybe European countries or maybe USA country, how they can help the massive people that are lagging behind them. Why? In this book, I'll give you the example. John, are you here? Yeah. So in this book, I've jotted down, let's put this. Imagine if the government has 500,000 workers. Please, any presidential candidate should follow me with a pen, because numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. Imagine if let's take, for example, Zambia. Imagine if Zambia has about 500,000 government workers. Then they divide these people into groups of 5. Just like they are doing to cooperatives. That will give you a math of 100,000 groups of either businesses or cooperatives. Now, if the president now dares to invest in these people, 1 million per group, that means they also need a capital of about 100 billion kwacha, or 6 billion US dollars. So if they give 1 million to each of these groups in their 5-5-5-5, government can never be the same. Government can never be the same. These are things that people who are lagging behind presidents are looking for. If you empower the civil servants with a side business in their groups of 5, then they begin to do business. Believe you me, this country can never be the same.
And also, Pastor, I know
Yes.
that, we have a very poor reading culture. I'm actually happy that this book looks like readable. A lot of people can, be able to read it. I know that every leader should be a reader. If
Yeah.
you can't read, you cannot be a leader. But why do you feel that we have continued to have a poor reading culture?
We have continued to have a poor leading culture. One of the reasons is due to the challenge of people being exposed to information, because it's not everything you read. We saw our fathers, we grew up with our fathers, uncles, who read so much the newspaper. Okay? But people today have gone to Facebook and other social media platforms. Okay? So if you want to study, many other times today, people will study because there is exams coming. Okay? The other reason is that I think we have had a few authors in Zambia. We have had few authors in Zambia that are able to read. The other reason is why should you read the information? You only read what you want to hear. As journalist, I must believe that any news that is a breaking news on any social media platform, I believe that takes your attention to read it. You go for it. Why? Because you're interested. So for business owners, aspiring presidents, candidates, MPs and all that, I can encourage them to read this book. I can encourage them to read this book. Business owners, I can encourage them to read this book. In other ways, you read what you want. You read what you want. When you go to the restaurant, you eat what you
want to
eat. You say, please give me this and that.
Right. And where can people get the book? And also, do you have plans, for study groups, trainings, also partnerships to take these ideas to the community?
Okay, so this book, I'm glad I'm on this platform. This book, if I was to sell it to you, John, if I was to sell it to you, Naomi, I can tell you the truth that you can barely make use of it. You can make little contributions after you read this book. Because this book was written to millionaires, billionaires, or maybe trillionaires. Those are my target groups. And if I was to sell it to few individuals or a large crowd, believe you me, men would not benefit. So the many people that can benefit from this book are the people like the presidents, the bank owners, the millionaires and billionaires who are in business. Those are the people that
those that
are
my
not, audience.
Those that are not in business,
those
cannot get this book.
Those that are in business, but they are not millionaires, they cannot get the most of this book. I can give it to them even for free. I can charge them maybe at 50 kwacha to get an online of it. So this book, I'm selling it as a whole to either a president, a bank owner, or a billionaire and a millionaire. Because these are the key people who have the system to change what must be changed. May I also add to you that this is not just a book. It's a system. It's a system, Naomi. John, this is a system. I'm selling a system. When you are a millionaire or a billionaire, you buy this book. You are not just buying a book. You are buying a system that can change governments, that can change bank operational systems, and help the massive unemployed people. Let me give you an example. Have you noted how many people celebrate graduation every year? How many? Thousands. We have thousands of school dropouts, thousands of school graduates who leave school every year in thousands. Do we have the capacity to employ them as a government? Does the government has the capacity to employ them? The answer is no. So this book goes to the millionaires, the president, the bank owners, and other billionaires that have the financial capacity. For example, in a case like Zambia, a person who has 6 billion can come into Zambia and change this nation, invest it in civil servants, and change this nation through the system that is in this book.
Right, quite interesting, John Mark. When you get this book, the benefits, some of the benefits will be that it give you access to presidents,
yes,
gives access to create job opportunities for millions, also give access to big banks, give access to other millionaires, give access to generation wealth. Speaking of generation wealth as well, John Mark.
True, and I'm also very interested in the scripture that you've cited in the book, especially at the blob. Deuteronomy 28 verse 12, thou shalt lend to many nations.
To many nations.
Why to many nations?
Good. What a powerful question you have brought. So this book is picked also from the Bible principles, where God is telling the children of God, his children, to say, my children, thou shalt lend to many nations. But let's ask a question here. If I said, John, you will lend to many nations, the first question you must ask yourself is, how much do I have to lend to Botswana, South Africa, to lend to Namibia, Malawi, to Zambia? How much do I lend? Have you seen where I'm saying this book belongs to millionaires? They're the people with the capacity to lend to many nations. God wants people to come out of poverty, but somebody must lend a help. Are you seeing that? And that person is a billionaire or a millionaire that can do that. So I'm speaking to any millionaire, millionaires like Elon Musk, millionaires like Warren Buffett, millionaires like Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, any millionaire across Africa, any millionaire across the globe that has so much amount, up to maybe 6 billion and above, that instead of putting the money in the bank, if they can bring that money to Zambia right now and say, Zambia, I want to use Absa Bank and run this system and lend to civil servants, deliver them out of the debt that has swallowed civil servants in Zambia.
We were talking about debt before you came.
Really? Now, let me tell you this. Civil servants are swallowed up in debts. Every civil servant out there knows what I'm talking about.
Actually, the story did read that the teacher committed suicide because they were called to say, I've not paid.
Now, listen. This book, Business with Nations, is one of the system or a solution to this world that can deliver civil servants, government workers out of the debt that they are swallowed in.
It's interesting that you use the word deliver, because from the Pentecostal circles, I'm from the Pentecostal circles, so I'm familiar with words like deliver, casting out. When I hear the word deliver, I'm picturing a man of God like you, sir, Pastor Daniel Shower, laying hands on someone and someone crying hysterically and falling down. And what? So are you saying that this deliverance is of the mind?
This deliverance, we have had enough people falling. We have seen enough of that. People.
Are you saying that they should stop falling anymore?
Let them fall, but when they rise up, let them change into financial systems. Let them be delivered, and let it be seen that they are now delivered. Now there is financial muscle and capacity to change their lives. Are you saying that? So, to all the civil servants in Zambia, to all the civil servants or government workers across SADC region, across East Africa, West Africa, North part of Africa, and to USA, and to other parts of the world, I encourage you to look for somebody that can deliver you, that is a billionaire or a millionaire, from poverty, from sinking
As you conclude.
Yes.
Your closing remarks, Pastor?
And even as you give your closing remarks, man of God, I'm very excited about the conversation that you're talking about. This is not, when people buy this book, Business with Nations, Improving World Economies, I like how you phrased it. They are buying power. I did not know you could buy power unless it's Zesco. But you're saying they're buying power, they're buying information. And information is power, like they say, which is true. But I also want you to just leave a word to the average citizen who doesn't have the capital. Because for them, you're saying that this is for the millionaires, this is for the billionaires. That's a good idea, the Dangotes and whatnot. But how many millionaires do we have in Zambia? How many billionaires do we have in Zambia? So even as you give your concluding remarks, and I know that people have been sold out with the idea, but what about those individuals who want to transit, who also maybe might not have had the background where they could be able to transit, because others are billionaires and trillionaires because of where they're coming from. Their fathers have left wealth estates for them to build on. What about those individuals who are low-income individuals? They are not like those individuals like Joseph, if I'm not mistaken, in the Bible, who was so powerful that he did not depend on his prayers. He went to Pilate and said, give me the body of Jesus, and he got money. That just shows how much we need money, and we need Christians who have got influence. But what about those individuals who want to get this book and are saying, maybe I'm almost convinced, but I'm not yet a millionaire?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. This book is very cheap. So to sell it as a whole, I'm selling it at 1 million. Okay, to 15 people, 1 million kwacha. That is like 55,000 US dollars. To 15 people. Then each is getting it at 1 million. That means you have the rights to reproduce, make copies, sell wherever you want to sell. That is the cost of the book. Now, let's come to your question as we are concluding. The average Zambian is not rich, doesn't have that money. Are you saying that? This is now where this book is coming in. If you as a millionaire buys this book, or if as a bank, you buy this book as a bank, you are now coming to civil servants and train civil servants to say, civil servants, we know you have the capacity to do this. You train them in that area and fund them the money and tell them to employ the average who doesn't have millionaires. Are you seeing the transaction? Are you getting the transaction? If a person doesn't have a collateral, goes to the bank and says, I want to get loan, they'll not. It's not possible. Okay? So now, we are talking about the millionaire who has the capacity to close the gap using the system of the Bank of the Nation. Are you getting that? Let me answer it to you in a finest way. If, for example, the president of this nation buys this book, or any aspiring president, let me not be political, buys this book, empowers the civil servants. The civil servants will empower the average person you're talking about who doesn't have the capacity to buy this book directly. So, through the empowering system, the average person who is not a millionaire will find a job and begin to grow, because you can't start from the top. You get it? Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Man of God, thank you so much. Very, very enlightening conversation. Business with Nations. And very quickly, where can people access the book from?
Okay, so the book, you can get it from me. It is also on Amazon. So on Amazon, the e-copy is going at $9. Then if you are to produce the other part, it is going at $20. Now, if you buy it from Amazon, you don't have the rights to reproduce or make it into anything. But if you get it from me or buy it as a whole, that gives you the rights now and the legal rights to go and do whatever you want with the book. I'm no longer part of the book.
Indeed. I know that a number of perhaps universities would want to get the rights to the book so that they could be able to even have it as a course. I think we need to change our mindsets.
I believe schools, I look forward to times when schools will be teaching us skills on finances. Because we are not taught that in school. That's why you find people, when they come out of universities, they still lack employment. they still lack financial capacity. They are still struggling. They're still blaming the government. They're still blaming the president.
Man of God, we need 1 more hour. But time does really fail us. Thank you so much. We're so privileged to be able to have had this very, very important conversation. For me, I believe, just like you, that for us to change this nation, it begins in the mind. And I always use this example to say you have got people that wear powerful suits, they drive great vehicles, but they are the ones that are rolling down the window and throwing banana peels. I think the deliverance that we really need, like you've put it, it is of the mind. We'll take a brief break, and then on the other side we shall continue, hopefully with Jeremiah to just give us a snippet of what is taking place in the world of sport, and then we'll be able to open up the phone lines, get your concluding remarks, and call it a day.
Welcome to New World of Entertainment in Zambia. Cartoons, music, news, movies, drama, series, documentaries, food, travel, the best from Hollywood and Bollywood, international football, CAF competitions, La Liga, Serie A, German Bundesliga, Saudi League, Carabao Cup, Asian Championship, Barclays Women's League, local leagues, and much more. Grab your Azam TV decoder at 350 Zambian Kwacha and full kit at 589 Zambian Kwacha, and watch all your favorite channels free for 2 months. For more details, contact us on 971-246-222, 763-664-455. WhatsApp 77-500-0013. Azam TV, entertainment for everybody. Welcome to New World of Entertainment in Zambia. Cartoons, music, news, movies, drama, series, documentaries, food, travel, the best from Hollywood and Bollywood, international football, including CAF competitions, La Liga, Serie A, German Bundesliga, Saudi League, Carabao Cup, Asian Championship, Barclays Women's League, local leagues, and much more. Grab your Azam TV decoder at 350 Zambian Kwacha and full kit at 589 Zambian Kwacha. Affordable monthly packages: 100 Zambian Kwacha, 200 Zambian Kwacha, and 300 Zambian Kwacha. For more details, contact us on 971-246-222, 763-664-455. WhatsApp 77-500-0013. Azam TV, entertainment for everybody.
Before we wrap up today's edition, we just want to touch what is taking place in the world of sports. And to that effect, we have with us award-winning journalist, JC Blaze, as it's called on Joy FM, Jeremiah, to friends and colleagues. It's a pleasure to have you, and good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm very good. I'm becoming a zombie because I can't actually sleep. I'm watching football throughout, and yesterday was really fun. Because in the afternoon I had to go and watch the under-17 play. You know, that's the games that are happening in Zanaco sponsored different provinces at Sunset Stadium, the third and fourth that was played yesterday. And from there I had to come and play and watch Formula One. Yeah, Formula One watching. After that I watched a little bit of some Wimbledon. some of the games that are happening in as far as tennis is concerned. And then getting back to football, I watched, and I know a lot of people were thinking Brazil is going to get into the finals, but I told them that Brazil do not have a team that can actually do that because they're not playing as a team. They may have great players here and there, great talent that they have, but when it comes to tournaments, a team that is playing as a team is a team that goes far. Norway, for example, you may have Haaland, but he's not a star in that team. Everyone plays for each other, and they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. If you look at Argentina, we've got Martinez, who is a very big star. When it comes to where he's coming from, a very big star. Every other player is a star, but when they get there, everything is around Messi, and they play for Messi. It's a different case for Portugal because every star wants to do their own things. They don't want to play for Ronaldo, and that's a difference. And that's why you see Messi thrive, because they always want to protect him and do exactly what he wants to, and anything that has to do with Messi is progressing. Mbappe is one of those that is also being protected. You saw how he plays and how people were coming closer and making sure that he's protected.
Yeah, that's why the likes of Olise, as much as he's a star, Dembele,
he's a star. Dembele, they are stars.
You can't even see that they're trying to fight for anything.
Yeah, so they're fighting for Mbappe to do something. They know he's a goal poacher, and they have to make sure that they create for him and make sure that everything is working out for him. And that's how teams work. But in this case, we do have so many of these things that are happening. And of course, we only have two teams in terms of Africa that are remaining. It's only Egypt and Morocco. So we should see how they're going to really do. Morocco was outstanding, despite the fact that they didn't play the game that they like playing, but they managed to win, which is a good thing. Playing against Canada, they just did exactly what they needed to do. Counter, scored, and they were excellent in terms of scoring. They scored 2, 3, and it was over. And that's exactly what has to happen. And of course, for Egypt, they were fantastic as well. So let's see how they're going to do it in the next games and the next fixtures that will be happening. We're waiting for that. But anyways, getting to back home and what we have, you know that we were having the CUXA games. That is, university teams from different sports disciplines. We went to Botswana, imaged in Botswana, and probably South Africa unbeaten. They had 24 gold medals, which is very huge, and leading the table in terms of what they really did. Zambia 4th, Zimbabwe 2nd. Expected to do better, but they were beaten in straight sets. And the first game that we should be seeing for Natasha from the tournament to this big tournament in Zambia, she will be playing against Mukangwa Siame, and it's just showing exactly what she's capable of doing. And we've got the veteran, the champion that has been winning, the number one in Zambia, of course, the number one seed, Edgar Gazembe, is looking really great because he managed to win his first game. And in the second game, of course, we're hoping to see what is going to happen, what is going to stop him. But he's very talented, and he's been winning. And he's been sweeping all the tournaments that we had. But for the Mika tournament, which is an international tournament, he came second. He was beaten by Mulaudi, who's from Zimbabwe. So we expected for him to get better. At that particular time, he had some injuries here and there. And he's played tournaments through injuries, but he's conquered. So let's hope for the best for him. And we've got Natasha Chewe. We've got also the twins. We've got Christabel and Annabelle, Christabel and Isabel, who are number 1 and 2 in terms of the seedings in Zambia. They're doing very well as well. They've gotten into the first round, second round. Let's see what really transpires and what happens. And then we did have, you know, and this is a good thing and it's timely, because at one particular point you see that some of our Zambian athletes, whenever they have money, they don't know how to save this money. They don't know how to keep the money. All they do is just go get the money, eat the money, and move on. Especially, it was synonymous with the people that came back or played before 2012. Most of them became destitute. It doesn't matter which sports you are in, they really did squander their monies, and they didn't really. So Barclays, ABSA, and ABSA, National Sports Council, and the ministry, and the IOC, the NOCZ came together and had to have they had to empower and do the Empowering Champions National Sports Council. Of course, they came together in terms of literacy program or financial literacy program. They have to tell them exactly how they can, you know, save their monies. And of course, they talked about anti-doping, and they talked about a number of issues pertaining to how things work. Because you can imagine you're coming from Zambia, and then you've been promised to pay, or you've been promised to get allowances of maybe 2,000 kwacha when you get a gold medal, and then somebody comes in and say, you know what, I'm going to give you maybe $10,000 for you to just make sure that you lose. You know, all these things do happen. So they had to teach them. Chimunya Mwetwa, who was one of the pioneers, and of course the ambassador for NOCZ, has been talking about all these things because he went through this. He was a goal scorer, a goal poacher, and he used to score goals. And at one point he started doing all these things, and of course he was paid not to score. You can imagine a person that has been scoring in every season. He was scoring at least not less than 20 goals, and then on that season he didn't score any goal because he had to stop scoring because he was paid, and he had to recruit other people, and they were suspended at one point. They had so many other players from Zambia that were from Zambia who was in Switzerland, and you know, some other Finland as well. They were suspended because of you know, selling games, and these are some of the literacy things that they were taught, and they talked about all these things, which is amazing. And then of course we do have Oriental Quarries Boxing Promotions, and Christopher Malunga has been talking about this particular fight that is going to come through between Marajika and of course Sniper. And this is going to be a very fantastic fight, and we expect it to see exactly what is going to happen. The boxers are ready. The promotion is getting ready. Of course, they're really looking for monies that has to come in, and what they have to do really, which is going to be a great thing for this particular bout. It's a very big bout, and let's go and support this. And we should be told exactly what is going to happen. If you know, the tickets will be on sale, and when the tickets will get on sale. And then of course we do have the under-17 girls that I've been talking about, which is Lusaka Province will be playing against Southern Province in the ladies category. So let's see who is going to win it. It's a province against the province that is starting at 9 hours. That already started, and they have already played at least 27 minutes. So we should see who is going to win it. And then finally we've got the boys, Lusaka Province versus Eastern Province as well. They will be playing against each other at 10 hours. So let's see. For those of you who are at Sunset Stadium, you can go and watch. And finally, the Copper Princesses managed to win, beats Ethiopia 2-1. It was a very tightly contested, and I think people are saying Ethiopia, but for them to get here, of course they did well and they played well. So we expected to have a tough game in Ethiopia in the next round of fixture, or in the next leg that will be played in Ethiopia. But Zambia have won 2-1, and they are not ready yet there, but I think they have to fight and win away from home, or even a draw. Any draw will see Zambia go through to the World Cup for the third time in a row.
Indeed, and of course, hard luck to the Brazil fans like myself. We were watching with a lot of anticipation, but at least on the lighter side, I'm happy that England managed to make it through.
But the problem is that every news that is coming, especially from BBC, SuperSport and all, they're just giving us England, you know, it's coming home. And
one thing, England,
they know exactly how to support themselves.
They know how to support themselves. How I wish we were able to support ourselves like the way the British media support England.
And you see the reasons, now you see the reasons why I don't really talk about this European football and European sports.
Yes,
it's because of the same things.
Yes.
I have to support the likes of our own.
Because the biggest news is Sweden actually beating even Brazil. Yeah, that for me, that's the biggest news today.
It is a biggest,
especially in the World Cup. Even more than Germany exiting early.
Yeah, it's the biggest news, but yeah, we don't talk about, and that's the reason why I'd like us to one day just talk about our own, like the whole throughout the show. We're just talking 5 hours, 10 hours throughout the everything,
just
social media.
If we had time, I know that we have a minute. If we had time, for me, I think maybe for Bola Chat today, I would dedicate it maybe even just to Congo, because I must say I am proud of the Congolese team. And what makes it what makes Congo for me the highlight of the whole World Cup is what their captain had mentioned, to say that in our country we constantly have war. Yeah. Look at how confused the Congolese nation is in terms of issues to do with the minerals that they have.
Yeah.
But for them to produce a team, first and foremost, that qualifies to the World Cup, and then to perform to the level where they give Portugal a run for their money, and they came out in such a very sad way, because I watched the game almost throughout, and at the end I think they crumbled because you cannot be able to defend throughout. But the way they were able to play, in my mind, when I look at Congo, I feel shame as a Zambian supporter, because there's no way a country that is marred in so much turmoil can produce a national team to get to that particular level. And for us, we can't even win an AFCON. We are still living in past glory, and we still have even the likes of Christopher Katongo still claiming to say, no, you have not given us our dues, you are not keeping us well. What a shame.
It's a big shame. And even just Cape Verde going toe-to-toe with Argentina was a big game, really. And I think you can highlight all those things, and very, very important. And probably even the under-17 talk about them.
Most definitely.
The under-17 games that are happening, all provinces in Zambia, in Lusaka, at Sunset Stadium. And we've got these finals, and I'm sure by the time that you are doing Bola Chat, the finals would have already been done. And you will know the champions of the provinces in terms of football.
And I think we'll also be able to even give more coverage even to the ladies. We know that the WAFCON is just around the corner. Yes, as much as people have publicized the World Cup, I think it's also important that
is important because we only have some few days before that.
Sure.
It's just some few weeks. Is it a week or so for us to get into Morocco?
JC, you and I could watch it.
Yeah, to watch.
Thank you so much for joining us. This has been the first edition of the week, and of course this wonderful day of which is actually even a holiday, and we're so glad that some of you are catching us from home. Hence, us making it slightly a little bit light, but we'll continue with discussions that have got a little bit of more meat even tomorrow as well. Thank you so much for joining us, from myself, John Maklukonde, Jeremiah, Naomi, as well as the team behind the scenes on behalf of management. Have a lovely day, and a shout out to our team at the Trade Fair.